I'm kind of sad. More than a little sad. A lot sad. I mean, it's like, seriously, I want to know how many people in our church make time for God outside of Sunday morning? Did he die for you or not? Do you believe it or not? Do you not owe him everything you have? And you can't make an hour, hour and a half for him outside of Sunday? Oh, you went to church Sunday, so you fulfilled your weekly obligation to God. You've earned your salvation, right? Because you went to church on Sunday morning. But we're not going to let that affect us. And we're going to get after it. In Isaiah, there's a verse. It says, "Woe to those who say that which is good is evil, and that which is evil is good." Most everyone has heard that at some point in time in their life. Okay? That is not strictly an end-time prophetical thing. Strictly. But it does it's just kind of a warning. Now, at any point in time in history, you can look through and you can see somebody somewhere who said, "There's nothing wrong with that." Yeah, it's true. But here's the thing, and this is word, and I listen to a lot of apologists, a lot of debaters, a lot of end-time prophecy guys, watchmen on the wall, so to speak. And there's one word, which I think is really amusing, because I've never heard any one of them reference any of the other guys that I listen to. I kind of bounce back and forth and kind of, and they get some things right and they get some things wrong. But there's one word that's it's a resounding word, and it's convergence. Every one of them can see the convergence of events. You could look back probably every 10 to 15 years. You'll have some guy standing out in New York City on a street corner wearing a sign saying, "Armageddon's here," ringing a bell, saying, "Repent." Okay? You see it in movies, so you know it actually happens, because movies are real. In case I didn't know. But it's like that whole doomsday person, and it's funny to me. But there's always someone out there who is trying to justify something. And with the convergence of events, think about it. You have Planned Parenthood selling off baby parts. It's fine. It's okay. Those of you, I hope everyone knows about that, right? Okay. Because I had to look at you, I'm like, wait a minute, does anybody not know about that? They're selling off baby parts and yada, yada, yada. And it's being justified. Homosexuality, it's being justified. I mean, there's all kinds of things. You watch the news. Once a day, you'll see something in the news somewhere that something is being justified. 20, 30 years ago, there would have been, the whole of the U.S. would have been up in arms about it, Back in the 70s, 80s, man, women didn't swear and curse. I was at Starbucks last night. I saw this young lady there. She was talking to these two guys. I must have heard the F-bomb dropped out of her mouth at least once or twice a minute. Minimum. GD, more frequently than that. It's like, and every time I hear someone take the Lord's name in vain, I cringe. Just my spirit just like someone just smacked me in the back of the head with a racket. It's offensive. I had to okay, we're going to go someplace else and move away. And it's like, what happened to the time when ladies were ladies? Seriously? They don't exist anymore hardly. If they do, they're married, or soon to be. I mean, they're hard to find. Anyway, so this whole world is justifying everything. And Isaiah says, "Woe to those who say that good is evil and evil is good." And it's not so much necessarily a prediction, but it kind of is. Because our world is running rampant with that, with them trying to spin everything. Christianity is now the most, aside from the Jews themselves being persecuted, as far as a standalone, and they keep calling it a religion. It's not a religion. Christianity is not a religion, for crying out loud. But I don't even know what to call it. It is what it is. It's a belief. It's a goal to be like Christ. And that's it. Religion is man-made. Christianity is what Christ is, what he dubbed his apostles. You know? And, yeah, anyway. All right. So let's move into our first verse here. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 7. And we'll pretty much just be at 2 Timothy tonight. And it says, "But recognize this, that in the last days difficult times will come. For men will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, revilers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, irreconcilable, malicious, gossips, without self-control, brutal, haters of good, treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, holding to a form of godliness, although they have denied its power. Avoid such men as these. For among them are those who enter into households and captivate weak women weighed down with sins, led on by various impulses, always learning and never able to come to acknowledge the truth." If you let it, that paints one heck of a picture, doesn't it? That's a long and distinguished list. Let's go into it a little bit. I'm not going to go through all of them because we'd be here literally for an hour just doing that. Lovers of self. Here's an example. I saw a woman, she's trying to petition whatever state or government she lives in to allow her to marry herself. She wants to have a civil union with herself. Yeah. I don't have words for it. I really don't. As I watched it, my brain had like a small seizure because I didn't know how to process it. I'm thinking, how can you marry yourself? Do you take leave? In my head, it's like something just doesn't seem to add up. And she's serious. She's serious. Now, you have some who are going to take that and say, love others as you love yourself. Not intimately love yourself. That's not what that means. But now people are going to try to, some of these people are trying to make scripture off of it. It's like, if you're going to marry somebody, that should be the only person you love like that. That's it. And you should not love that person. You should not love yourself the same way you love your significant other. That should be two totally different kinds of love. And that whole, I almost wish he hadn't used the word love. I mean, he did for a reason, and it makes perfect sense. But people just keep taking it and twisting it. But you know what? At the same time, they take and twist the entire Bible. It doesn't make any difference. They're going to twist it. They're going to mutilate it. And they're going to try to bend it to mean what they say it means. I had a guy tell me, context is king. Okay? And he was arguing with me about the rapture. And he starts using verses to say, like Matthew and Mark, using the Olivet Discourse to prove his point. And it's like, you can't use the catching away verses and apply them to the second coming verses. More particularly, specifically, the verse that says, no one knows the day or hour. Okay? As soon as the treaty is signed, I can tell you within 24 hours of Christ's return. I can tell you. So, no man knows the day or hour means at no point in history will any man, not even Jesus, know the day or hour. No one. So that verse can't be talking about the second coming of Christ. It cannot. Because once the treaty or once the covenant is signed, everyone will know that date. Even Satan will know the date, for crying out loud. He'll probably have a clock that counts 7 years approximately. I mean, I don't know, but it's like those two verses don't go together. Those two events, they're separate. And stubbornness. Jesus won't see it. And it's just like, Lovers of self. You want to know what one of the largest driving features to homosexuality is? Someone who's in love with self-image. Somebody who doesn't really trust anybody else anymore. For some reason, the way God designed it, it got broken. And they don't trust that opposite sex partner anymore. So who do they trust the most? Themselves. So they love themselves because themselves is the only one they can truly trust. Because the opposite has hurt them, wounded them, mistreated them. Something has happened and it's broken. And they can't fix it. So they go to what they can trust. So they look at that other person, that significant other, and they see themselves, and they trust themselves. Homosexuality is one of the biggest proponents of selfishness that exists. And it's scary. And you know what's really makes it even more frustrating is that I very rarely hear anybody preach or teach on that topic, on that concept. Because they don't see it as selfishness. They're trying to say it's a gene. I can't help it. Well, you can't help what happened to you, but it's still a choice. Everyone had a choice. Even Hitler had a choice. The Antichrist, whoever he is, he'll have a choice. He will choose to be that way, but it's going to be his choice. Lovers of money. How often do you guys see people buying lotto tickets? Everyone's trying to hit that stinking lotto. You guys want to know how many people are trying to hit it? If it's at 40 billion people, what's it cost $1 to buy in? So there's 40 billion people trying to win it. Or 40 million people trying to win it. All that money comes from the suckers trying to win it. It's like, keep your money. You won't lose as much. And the scratch-offs aren't no better. I swear they have it set up so that like the first 30 off of a roll, everyone gets their money back. Well, I haven't lost nothing. And they buy like 20 of them, and they don't win a dime out of it. So how many suckers are they going to get? I've bought a couple. 5 in my entire life. Morbid curiosity, That's it. It's like, why am I here? I'm not going to waste my money. If I have sometimes I'll have $2, exactly $2 left over. I'm like, give me a $2 one. I don't care, just pick one, $2, whatever. And I never can figure out how to use the stupid things. I really can't. Like, the instructions don't make sense to me, ever. There was one, and I say, how you play? So scratch them all. Okay, I can do that. But once you get a scratch, this one, because you scratched one more than you were supposed to, if you won, you didn't win anything after that. And it's like, and they set it up so you will accidentally scratch the wrong one, and you lose if you do win. It's like, man, lovers of money. How sue happy is the world around us? Everyone's trying to sue everybody. The lady who sued McDonald's, millionaire. I mean, the gay couple who sued the bakers, $135,000. Good God. It's for emotional damage? What hurt? They said no. You 135 doesn't give it to him. What? What kind of world are we living in? Seriously. I mean, not only are they lovers of money and they're just do anything they can to get a buck. Did they sue them because they were damaged emotionally, physically, mentally, anything? No. They knew they could win. That's it. It's literally like, let's say you're hungry. You know how to cook, clean, everything. A deer. And it's standing 20 feet in front of you. You've got a Magnum 357. You have this deer dead to rights. That's basically what happened. Did they need to eat? No. These two were fat off the lamb. Stuffed. Did they need that deer? Nope. They had freezers full. Why'd they shoot it? Because they could. You can never have too much, right? So what if they suffer as long as you benefit? That's how most people get rich anyway. Someone's got to lose it in order for them to gain it, right? But you know what?